This is my review of the Who album, a quick one. It was released in 1966 and produced by Kit Lambert. So this is I think one of the earlier Who albums I got. I can't exactly remember when I got this one. I kind of remember like when I got it. I'm pretty sure I got it at the FYE that used to be in the mall around here. I think I was with my grandma, and I remember like looking through the album like after I got it, like reading through the booklet, but I just can't place exactly when it was. And I know I got this like relatively early on, but I can't remember like in what order. I know I would have had Endless Wire and Who's Next and Who Are You before I got this. I don't remember if I had Tommy. I'm pretty sure I got this before like Quadrophenia or By Numbers or any of the stuff after that. But I can't remember exactly like when I got this. I know it was this was the first like '60s Who album I got, which kind of like the way I personally like break the Who down into time periods is like '60s and '70s Who, and I mean there's obviously other ones, but so like the '60s for me, like the dividing line is kind of at Tommy. They kind of like Tommy to me is almost more of a '70s album because like Roger gets his voice then, but this was the first like '60s Who album I ever got, and what made me want to get this album at the time was Boris the Spider. I kind of knew of this album's reputation like going in. I don't think this is like one of most people's favorite albums of theirs, which has a lot to do with the other band members writing songs on here. Usually Pete's the main songwriter, and here you have songs. Well, there's actually like after this a lot of songs with or albums with songs by John Entwistle. But here's the first album where he gets to write songs, but you also have songs from Keith and Roger on here, which is kind of unusual. So I think that gives this album a really different feel than a lot of Who albums. There's a lot of songs not sung by Roger, or a lot more than normal, so it kind of sounds different in that way. And a lot of people I think just don't like their songs as much, which I'll get into what I think about those when I go through the tracks. But yeah, I've always kind of liked this album. Bought it because of Boris the Spider, which I had already heard and liked, so I was like, yeah, I want to get the one with Boris the Spider on it. And yeah, I don't know, this is an album I listened to a lot back when I got it. I don't put it on quite as often anymore, but I kind of think that's going to change because it's one of the albums that I'm not really that tired of compared to some of the other Who albums. So the album opens with Run Run Run, which is a Pete song sung by Roger. I think it's a really strong opening track. Just always liked it. I think it's really catchy. The instrumental part and stuff is, to me, kind of like heavy for 1966, which I always thought was kind of cool. But yeah, just a really good opening track, not a lot to say about it. Second track, Boris the Spider, is John Entwistle song, sung by John. I've always really liked it, thought it's pretty funny lyrically. Entwistle writes a lot of songs that are just like kind of dark humor, and I've always like enjoyed songs of his that do that. I've taken a lot of like influence from that kind of stuff in my own writing. So yeah, I'm a big fan of Entwistle's songwriting. And that's always been one of my favorite tracks on the album. Cool bass part, catchy song. Third track is I Need You, is written by Keith Moon. I believe it's sung by Keith. It doesn't really say, as far as I can find in the album booklets, like specifically if he does or not, but it doesn't sound like any of the other people in the band. At the same time, it doesn't really sound like he does on Two Sides of the Moon, his solo album, so it's hard for me to tell, but he's kind of, if it is him, it sounds like he's kind of doing almost like a falsetto type voice, which would make sense since he was a Beach Boys fan. But yeah, it just doesn't sound like him later on, but I think it's him. And it's not the best vocal on the album, but not bad for Keith. He definitely had a voice that he like struggled to keep where it should be when he sang. So yeah. Other than that, though, I think it's actually kind of a catchy song. It's kind of Beatlesy, which I think he was like has some Beatles references in it and was kind of influenced by them here. The drumming's really cool on it. He just kind of goes nuts. Really, his drumming on this whole album is really great. But yeah, I Need You. For me, it's kind of a minor highlight. I think it's just interesting to hear a Keith Moon written song, and really, I think it's pretty good. It's a catchy song. Fourth track, Whiskey Man, another Entwistle song, and this is another kind of funny, dark humor song. I think it's a really catchy song. I actually like it more than Boris the Spider. It's a really fun song. Band plays great. Entwistle's vocal's pretty funny. There's a story that they talk about in the booklet on here where he couldn't pronounce friend, so he sang it like flend one time and flend another time, and you can kind of hear it when you listen to it. So that's just kind of funny. But yeah, Whiskey Man is a kind of a, it's like a big highlight for me. I really like that one. Fifth track, Heat Wave, is a cover, and it's great, really catchy. Band's performance great. Roger sounds great. Major highlight for me. The only problem with it is it's just like too short. It's only like 1:50 or something like that, but I wish it was longer because it's great. Sixth track, Cobwebs and Strange, is the other Keith Moon track on here. It's an instrumental, and it kind of just sounds crazy. Like every time I listen to it, I just imagine that like the sound of this song is what was going on in Keith Moon's brain like all the time. But it's just like really ridiculous, kind of off the wall sounding. I really like it. It's really entertaining. Especially like there's parts where he just like kind of copies what the instruments are doing on his drums. Like all the other instruments drop out, and he just kind of does a little drum solo, and is almost like trying to play what they were playing before they dropped out, which is just really cool. So yeah, I've always really liked that one. Seventh track, Don't Look Away, another Pete song sung by Roger. It's good, pretty catchy. It's got kind of a funny line about the like heads in a lion's mouth, and just the way they sing it's really goofy. It's always kind of made me laugh. But yeah, good vocal melody. Roger sounds really good on it, so I've always liked that one. The eighth track, See My Way, this is the only Roger song, and I think a lot of people really hate this one. I don't think it's that bad, really. It's kind of catchy. It's like the most Roger lyric ever. He's just like trying to convince people that he's right. But yeah, Keith kind of plays weird on it. I guess Roger wanted him to play like Jerry Allison, Buddy Holly's drummer. So it's got kind of like a weird, almost like Peggy Sue type of drum thing going on. Yeah, it's not like a major highlight for me, but I've always kind of enjoyed it. Don't really have a problem with it. Every time I listen to the lyrics, I just laugh because I'm like, yeah, Roger's just, I don't know, convinced he's right. The ninth track, So Sad About Us, another Pete song sung by Roger. And this another major highlight for me. It's like a really poppy song and really catchy, but it's like, I don't know, it's pretty heavy for its time. Like Keith's just going nuts on the drums, and Whistle's got that like really deep bass sound, and it's kind of like contrasted with Pete's playing this kind of like